Every morning the light keeps getting brighter as I wake to the truth. Every day I'm feeling so much lighter, and the world is fresh and new. What I was taught and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Each day I start anew, and so I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today's the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Every morning brings a new beginning. By grace another day to be. I awaken to the sun upon me shining, lighting the way for me to see things that I sought and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Of yesterday I'm letting go. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Today is the day I walk away.
Please join me in prayer. There is but one God and one life, and I'm living it right here and right now. I know that Spirit, which is what I call my Creator, moves, breathes, and has its being in everyone, everything, at all times and under all circumstances. The beauty of all of that is we may have been created by the same thing, and yet we express it so beautifully, so differently. We may not look the same, act the same, speak the same language, And yet, just like in the beautiful Mother Nature of Colorado, it shines forth. It's something I see not only with my human eyes, but with great vision. We are indeed one. And we are blessed here in this community of New Dawn to have not only the people here present in the seats, also the ability to see it later at our convenience, and maybe repeat it if we are so inclined. I'm grateful for all and everything that keeps our services together here at New Dawn, whether it be our leadership council, hospitality, people putting seats together, getting the tables out, musicians and singers just like Ken, our AV team by Brenna, backed up by Carol, my fellow practitioners holding consciousness. And whether we are holding this consciousness here at this very moment or elsewhere energetically, whether it be in a sweat lodge, a temple, a church, a cathedral, or on a mountaintop, or even in our living room with a cup of tea, we come together now to listen to our guest speaker, Reverend Steve, joined by his wife Terry, who came to check us out a couple weeks ago. And now we get to hear Steve deliver words of wisdom from on high. And for anyone anywhere feeling dis-ease, discomfort, feeling oppressed or repressed, know that you have come to the right place, right time, to drop from what went before to come into the now and join us communing where we are safe, loved, happy, and abundant. And I'm grateful to be able to say these words on behalf of everyone here or in the ether. We put it together, we make it all true by letting it go and letting God. And together we say, and so it is. Today's topic is until now. I don't know about you, but I just winged it and made it up, what that really meant to me. Which is kind of our practice of being here now and in the present. Life goes by fast. Enjoy it. Calm down. It's all funny. Everyone gets so upset about the wrong things. The beloved Joan Rivers. In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Robert Frost. And from our founder, the honored Dr. Ernest Holmes. Living today is not negative experience we have gone through in the past that destroy our happiness, rather our emotional reaction to them carried into the reservoir of memory. These negative reactions, unhappiness, and physical disorders are buried alive in our memory. Yesterday has no reality of existence today other than lengthened shadows of yesterday. The impulsions of yesterday carried into today are prophetic of tomorrow's experience. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not yet arrived, and I live in the eternal present. I have no fear in looking back or forward, knowing everything good in my experience creates my future as hope fulfilled with love and life well lived.
Today, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce you all to Reverend Steve Kinsfather. I've known Steve for several years as we were students together in the School of Spiritual Leadership. He's a resident of Golden, Colorado, with his beautiful wife, Terry, who's gracing us today as well. A third-generation Colorado native, Steve was born into the science mind teachings. His parents were two of the 14 original founders that created Mile High Church. He served as a science mind practitioner for 12 years there and is currently a senior minister of Vessels of Spirit, a CSL focus ministry. Steve took to woodworking and carpentry very early in his life and began teaching his skills to others. After teaching his trade in a juvenile correctional facility, he led college and high school students through the construction of an entire home every school year. There are 20 homes around the Denver area that stand as testaments of youth learning and working together. Now retired from hands-on teaching of home building, Steve now teaches spirituality from the heart through his ministry, photography, poetry, and community leadership. I have to tell you, a lot of people will say a lot of things about Steve, and one of the ones that usually comes to mind is about his sense of humor. He does have a good sense of humor. That is not why I brought him here. He'll show it to us anyway, but that's not why I brought him here. I brought him here because his heart is so big, and you'll see as you listen to him speak that the passion about what he's speaking about comes out of his throat in such a beautiful way. Every now and then, it leaks out the corner of his eyes. He's a beautiful speaker with a giant heart, and you guys are going to love everything he has to share with you today.
After that, I feel like I should quit while I'm ahead. Thank you, Denise. Good afternoon, New Dawn. And I can see that each of you remember to set your clocks ahead an hour for daylight savings. That makes no sense to me. It's kind of like the theory of have a blanket, cut a foot off the bottom, sew it back on the top, and think that your blanket is longer. I thank each of you for being here today, inviting me into your spiritual home, or at least allowing me to be here. And I'd like you to just join me for a moment of collectively acknowledging this sacred space, and that together our time is blessed and spiritually nurturing. Thank you. Thank you for holding that for me. Today's not only the day that we change our clocks ahead, but because of adding a leap year day, it's exactly 70 days since New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And I know some of you set resolutions, and nobody in here, but some people know those that set resolutions and never did anything about them. I think in our teaching we set intentions, and I'll speak to that a little bit more. In keeping with the Center for Spiritual Living themes for this year, which is a grand rising, and for the month of March, which is, that's how we've never done it, and for today, which is my talk, and I'll share that in a minute. Linda's already leaked what the title of my talk is. But I want to also continue on with what Reverend Bridget spoke to last week, the beginning of March. Her talk was New Baby Day. I think it was something along those lines. She didn't like the word baby in there. But it's the birthing of something new. And March is kind of the spring. It's time for us to reevaluate where we are on our path and what we're doing and what's working for us and what we want to change. So I honor Reverend Bridget and what she presented last week. Yay. The global theme, a grand rising, I mentioned that, and I think that Ernest Holmes taught us that life is eternal and an upward spiral, forever spiraling upward. There's another interesting concept to that too, which is spiral dynamics. Anybody in here familiar with the yay? It's a whole different concept, and I advise you to explore it, but it really goes through where we are as a human species and the different time eras that we've gone through. But I think we're doing that in our own life all the time. We're evolving and rising upward. So a grand rising is the theme for the year. As I said, for March, that's how we've never done it. I tried to say it anyway, now that I have it in writing. And my examining why we do things one way and not another in our life. I want us to think about that. Are we just settling for the first and easiest way? Are we aware and seeking our highest good? And Reverend Bridget spoke to this as well in her message beginning the month. Exploration of how we are choosing to live our lives. Up until now is the theme of my talk. And some of you are wondering, what is he talking about? Or what is he up to now? But I would like you, when I say up until now, or throughout my talk when I say that, I would like you to consider that it means we're present in the now and that we're always at choice. So if you take nothing else away from my talk today, up until now, we're present in the moment, and we are always at a choice. I mentioned resolutions. Some people want to quit smoking, or I'm going to diet and lose weight, and that's what a resolution is, and they claim it, and some do well, typically not, lasts a couple of weeks. Our 70 days into the new year is a good time to re-examine that. And if you're like me or in this teaching, we do intentions. The difference is an intention has meaning behind it, has feeling. We speak it and we claim it is already done. So instead of quit smoking, I would claim I'm putting clean air into my lungs. I don't need anything that does not serve my body. And I live a healthy life. I claim that now. An intention for losing weight, which maybe I should do a little more of, would be I only choose positive, healthy foods to put into my body. They nourish my mind, body, and spirit. So that's putting in the affirmative, the positive, and setting that intention, and then holding it, and we're planting those seeds that manifest for us. Yeah, that's pretty much resolutions and intentions. I'll go to my next. Today is the day I walk away. I want to thank Ken for graciously accepting to do that song, playing the Eddie Watkins version of it. I got to see him play along with Eddie Watkins at our national convention in Charleston. And Ken, again, isn't he fantastic? And you really are blessed here at New Dawn Centers for Spiritual Living. Your musicians, the tech people, Russell, appreciate you, the practitioners, those behind the scenes, those that are every day working on something, making this event today, the Sunday talks, and other events that happen. And for you, just being here and your contribution. Thank you for what you do and for allowing me to be a part of it today. Eddie Watkins Jr. wrote that song at a time in his life when he felt he was not on the right path, not in integrity in his heart. And I don't know the full story, but something clicked that, and you might share a little bit. I think he shared at convention a little bit about what that song meant to him. Eddie is just not being on, not integrity with himself. We know that. We know we have those times where what I'm doing doesn't feel right, or I'm in this dead-end job. There's several different things that bring up that feeling. And that's why the up until now again. And that's why he wrote that song. And again, I'm grateful that Ken played it because that has a lot to do with up until now. That was an up until now moment for him. Our future. This is what John Shar says. The future is created first in the mind and will. Created next in activity. The future is not some place we are going to, but one that we are creating. We are always creating, and up until now allows us to create the next activity, allows us to create something new. And I think the way we do that is listening to our heart. Our heart is our compass. And that's what Eddie Watkins had, that compass that he's not on the right path. His compass is telling him, change that path. And the up until now theme allows us to do that, or that up until now thought. Just walking our truth. Something else I'd like you to take away from today's message is to walk our truth and create your own future step by step. When you travel, a new silence goes with you. And if you listen, you will hear what your heart would love to say. powerful. And my graphics that I chose are also equally powerful to me. I chose them for some of those reasons. A lot of these are what are called the Daily Pearls. Mile High has a graphics department that puts the phrase together with a graphic, and they send one out every day. So I'd like to acknowledge Mile High and their graphic department for providing me with the Daily Pearls, and you're welcome to sign up for them or use these and check that out. John O'Donohue, he's a poet and an author and a priest. Some of you may know of him. He's Irish, and it was exactly 4 years and 1 week ago that Denise and I, your own Denise Simone, was our job to be the inspirational speakers. We co-shared it, basically what Linda just did for us. And it was for a message being delivered by Dr. Reverend Jesse Jennings on St. Patrick's Day. And my reading was one from John O'Donohue, which was really powerful. And we had to go, I believe it was Thursday night before the Sunday service. Denise and I showed up to rehearse the entire service, stand at the podium, adjust the microphone, speak our words. And we never got to do it. Anybody know why? COVID-19 and the pandemic. It was that following day, in between the time we rehearsed and that Sunday. Everybody masked up, no more large gatherings, no in-person things. And so they did do, Jesse spoke, gave his message online, but we were not readers. We didn't show up and do it. But anyway, that's something that Denise and I shared and rehearsed together. And next Sunday on St. Patrick's Day, I just ask you to give a good Irish shout out to John O'Donohue. As I return to today's message and remind us to be present in the moment and to know we are always at choice. Up until now is an opportunity to change course. It's a reminder to allow the heart to guide the path. If the heart tells us to change our path, understand it may not be quick or one and done effort. What that change can be is taking the first step of our new direction. And this slide is from Prima Shidon. She's a Buddhist monk, and I wasn't sure if she's still alive, so I Googled it today and said she's 87 years old and has a history of just wisdom, and some of you maybe are familiar with her work, her teachings, and I honor that as well. That's what's cool about this teaching is all the different religions, and that's what Ernest Holmes did. Oh, Buddhists have this, Islam is this, Muhammad is this. He took the golden thread, the truth of all of them, combined them, and put this teaching together. It's kind of that, not just pick and choose what you like, but seeing where they overlap, where they complement each other. And this saying, interrupting our destructive habits, destructive she calls them, and awakening our hearts is the work of a lifetime. So you don't just one and done kind of do that. And where do we choose to disrupt? You know, how do we change that thing? What are we doing because we've always done it that way? I want to share a story. It's for my wife's professional organization, inventory and production and inventory control. Has to do with supply chain management and those really exciting things that she was into. But I went to one of her conferences and I was really struck by a story that one of the presenters, keynote speakers, shared. I don't know if he worked at the company, but it was about an injection molding company. That's where they heat up plastic, force it into a mold, then when it cools, and they pop the mold out. And, they were getting these bricks of plastic delivered from their supplier on a weekly basis, big cubes that would come in, and there were several dock workers on different shifts. It was their job to chop those blocks up, make it into smaller pieces so they could feed it into the injection molding. And there was labels on there for the different polymers and the different colors and those kind of things. But they were spending a lot of time chopping it up, and when they tried to saw it with a saw, it was making that plastic dust all over and being contaminated on the floor. And they got together and said, you know, we've been chopping these blocks up. I wonder if our supplier could send us the same plastics in a different form. They took it to management, and of course management took credit for it, but gave the actual duty to assistant, you know, the executive assistant said, find out, call the supplier. And they did, and the supplier said, of course we can. You're the only company that we charge you extra to put your plastic into those big blocks. We sell it into bags already shredded. That's how most of our vendors accept it. A dispenser that makes it much easier. And so, ta-da, by people coming together saying, this doesn't feel right, what can we do? It saved the company a bunch of money, it saved the dock workers a bunch of time, more cleanly, and not having to clean up that stuff all the time. So all the benefits of that from just not doing it the way we've always done it. Where am I at here? Roger Teal. Everyone is uniquely encoded with a dream that spirit wants to be. So that's along the theme too of up until now. When I saw that graphic, I can see what you're looking at and seeing. I know for me, it reminded me that we're all beings of light. And that we can align our chakras. We can open our hearts and our minds, opening up to that which is. And when we do that, that meditative state where we're aligned, we're open at the top, as Ernest would say, we're open to infinite possibilities. And that's what the up until now infinite possibilities is. Up until now. I noticed, what are the talks? Talk, pray, love. Is that what it is? The flyer that I picked up. Elizabeth Gilbert has a book called Eat, Pray, Love. Anybody read that or familiar with? It was also a movie. Terry and I were blessed to go to a private pre-book signing. She was speaking, but they had a VIP session beforehand where she signed books and had Q&A, and so we just met her and shook hands, and it was wonderful to feel her energy. And I just love her life-changing story, and I love what she says. And if you're familiar with it, she made a drastic change up until now. Several things in her life were not going well, and she chose to just go off on this junket type thing, find spirituality, a totally different way of being. The universe buries strange jewels deep within us and then stands back to see if we can find them. We all have those gems, and we know it, and we know when we've found them, when we've unearthed one, we've answered a calling. And it's not a one and done thing either. Once we find that big ruby, there's another gem in the next stage of and those change at our age, the different things that are important to us at different ages or stages throughout our life. As our living situation changes, or our partners, our relationships, each of those are a gem to be uncovered. And I think Spirit is not only watching us discover them, but guiding us to them and guiding us through it. And I find those jewels, or hear with the still small voice, it's not small at all. I hear it more easily when I'm out in nature. Is that true for any of you? That, of course, being next to water for me, the sound of water, early morning when the sun's just coming up, and the birds complete the orchestra of nature. I can see myself standing on that rock and hearing that sound. There is something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you will ever have. That guide is there, born with it, always with you. So getting out in nature and truly listening to what that's about. Up until now, I've had the knowing of being on the right path for me. It's changed a few times, like Eddie Watkins. Ken, again, thank you for that beautiful rendition. But I've also experienced times when I was on someone else's path. Have you ever moved from your own path to someone else's path? Can you recall a time where you were on your path, but someone influential, a teacher, a coach, or a relative said, you can't accomplish that, and you trusted them, or they convinced you that this is not a good path for you? We all have those times when we listen to a person and ignore our heart. And it reminds me of a story of what I call the little artist. And we could be more like this little girl in the art class. It's visualize a grade school art day. All the supplies are out and the teacher's letting them create. The assignment was just create something that's important to you. Draw a picture, paint a picture. And a little boy was making a rocket ship going up into the stars. A couple of them had a rendition of themselves in the picture. maybe on a fire truck or on the runway of a fashion show. And they were doing their drawings, and some had houses and clouds, and the teacher came up to one little girl and didn't recognize what she was drawing. And she said, "Honey, what is your picture?" She said, "Oh, I'm drawing a picture of God." And the teacher said, "Sweetie, nobody really knows what God looks like." She turned around, stood up, and she said, "In a few minutes they will." Thank you for the applause break there. And she didn't listen to that teacher. She wasn't discouraged by the lack of that recognition. How's that for an up until now story? I've yet to speak about the aspect of up until now that needs no action required. Those are the things that Spirit put into place, whatever you want to call the great creator, that we couldn't change them if we wanted to and don't need to be changed. The cycles of the planets, the seasons, things like that were perfectly put in place for our comfort. And we can think about them, but they require no action. We don't want to try to change them, nor do we need to. And knowing that difference, so part of that is the serenity prayer. Some of you are familiar with, the Alcoholics Anonymous uses it, and people that participate that. Learn the serenity prayer of knowing, well, it goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Our tendency is to cling to those things that we experience and resist that which is the next level of empowerment. What am I clinging to? Where am I resisting life-enhancing changes? Dr. Roger Teal. Just think about that word, up until now. Our up until now is it. I just like to let you know that we should let go of a path that is not ours or that isn't serving us. Let go of it, those forgiveness things. Be present in each moment and remember anything we can do can be an up until now moment for change. And I'd like to close my talk with a version of the Serenity Prayer. I wish I'd have thought of it. I didn't come up with it, but I heard it from another spiritual leader, and it really resonates with me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change those people I can, and the wisdom to know it's me. Join me in prayer. We just go within, being grateful for this thing called life, for all the relationships we have, realizing the oneness of all that is, and recognizing our place in it, and that it changes as we age, as we experience, as we go deeper in our spiritual exploration. We know that we are on this planet for a reason. Each of us, our individual expression. There is no other you. We are here to be who we're called to be, and our path changes. Sometimes that path goes behind the mountain. We don't see it, but we're still on it. And we listen to the compass of our heart to know what is ours to do and when it's an up until now time to change the direction of our path. And when we do that, when we align with the divine guidance, we can do amazing things. So I hope for each of you as we prepare to go our separate ways, we know there is no such thing as separation. Deeply, we are one. So in gratitude, knowing these words have been placed into the law and already answered, I just ask that you would claim this truth with me. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take. Bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. All the places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry when or where or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. So close your eyes, take a breath, and smile. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things.